little
Drake's empire
DJ
is
booth
collapsing
and just
in real
trying to
time
get
after
the
a series
attention.
of devastating
And you know when you
setbacks
just
left
see him
fans
really
in
try to
total
act like
disbelief.
he is the ambassador
Reports
of the
confirm
six
that the
now
Toronto
after again,
superstar
even
has
if we
lost
think
millions
about after
following
the
legal
beef, he
defeats,
neglected his own home
cancelled
city for
shows,
about a year
and a wave
before
of
ever
industry
even doing
backlash
something
tied
like
to his
this,
feud
because
with
this is the
Kendrick
first
Lamar.
time Drake is really performing in Toronto. It's all just weird. And right now I'm going to show you a little montage I made of all the different footage of Drake just embarrassing himself. So just sit back and watch this. I'm going to give you a break cause I know you probably got another 20 children. Music, so if it's okay for you for the sake of all these beautiful people that love you for that life we've been waiting to see you all from home, we're so happy to have you. I'm going to ask and you tell me if it's okay if I could shout out, if I can shut off, like maybe I'll do 5, maybe I don't know. Applause. In front of everybody. I can see everybody. Yeah. Hey, I just want to say we were just up there talking. Me, Charles, Future, we were just talking about how much time we spent with your music. Look at all these people right here. How much time we've spent with this man's music right here. I used to hand out flyers outside of a club called Escape just to go inside to the club and listen to your tune. So one more time please, as a city, as a family, make some the world bosses, damn, make some noise. And you know, honestly, seeing this and then even looking back at some of the Drake performance videos once again, you also see how the crowd is really not into it all that much. And for these records which Drake, used to think commanded the world and made him the biggest rapper in the world despite them not being rap songs, well, they really did nothing to move this crowd. Which again, if we want to break down why Drake made these very songs and very records, it was to try and pander and cater to audiences that again were not from the cloth of necessarily hip-hop. And so just when you see that and even see Drake trying to make up this accent, which, like the fact that he does this, it's so embarrassing because to try and just morph into identities and things that you are not, I mean there's no other way to put it, it's just weird. Well, from that to even the typical speech that Drake has given to every artist that he tries to make look cool, whether that was J. Cole, whether that's Five's Cartel, or whether it's any other artist that Kendrick Lamar probably laughed at him for doing this with. Drake does the same performative thing where he says how much he loves them. Then he says to make some noise, and then he tries to make some little personal monologue about himself, but then somehow turn it back to the artist and make it about them. But it really doesn't end up being about them because Drake talks for so long that while honestly nobody even knows the point. But now with all of this, when you just look around and see that Drake is outside, he is doing things like this. He is still embarrassing himself. He is still doing music and DJing instead of live performing in full. And there's really no impact from that. And just overall, again, to go back to Academics' point, when Kendrick Lamar does anything, it is top-tier news. It is something big. And everybody is looking to what it's really going to mean, whether it's something in terms of just reactions that people are crashing out from or if it's something in music. And then, for Drake, the only thing we really see him do is embarrass himself more and more. And when it's moments like these where, he's not doing that in full, nobody's really even discussing it. Well, overall, I think we need to stop with this whole narrative that Drake is the savior of hip-hop and that the whole industry is a mess because of him. Because if we really want to break it down, unless you were trying to say that Drake is the reason why the industry is a mess and not that his downfall is, you can't just say anything. Because really for Drake, this guy has failed. And the only thing that you could say, and this is what I would say, is that his failure has definitely made a lot of other artists become failures whether they have realized it or not. And it's made them silently give up whether they have admitted it or not. And so really just understanding that and being aware of what's going on, that's really what's happening here and that's really what's taking shape, which is that for Drake, the downfall has never been more prevalent. And for Academics and the weird little couples and friendships that you still have, you all got to get into reality because if you were able to just see the things the way we did and if you wanted to look at things objectively and you didn't want to wait up for Drake text messages about why you didn't send happy birthdays, well then you would get it. But as we know this is never going to stop and we know it's only going to get worse. All I can say is that for the worst couple in music and for the biggest liars, I guess I'll unfortunately probably have to talk about your failures soon. And so yeah, that's all I got today. Let me know your thoughts on Drake and his failures, Academics, and his embarrassments, and just everything going around here. And let me know about the topics that were discussed today in terms of just Academics really trying to blame everything in hip-hop on Kendrick Lamar and not Drake at all, which I do think is a very interesting debate. Now, listen, if you made it to this point in the video, you know what to do. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. And well, if you want to see how right before this, well, I had to make a very important video on Drake, which I think is a perfect prequel to this, as it really does just set the stage for the moment we are all in, which I do think is a new era in some sort of a way. Well, you're not going to want to miss this one. Check out the suggested video. Insiders say major sponsors have pulled out. Streaming numbers are plummeting and internal turmoil within his OVO camp has reached an all-time high. Social media erupted as news spread with fans posting clips of Drake appearing visibly distraught during a recent public appearance. "He looks broken," one fan wrote, as #Drake lost everything began trending worldwide. The downfall comes just weeks after losing his lawsuit over Not Like Us and enduring harsh criticism for his leaked response track. For many, it feels like the end of an era, the fall of a global icon who once seemed untouchable.
Federal Judge Vargas has officially granted the motion to dismiss Drake's lawsuit entirely, putting an end to one of the most publicized music industry legal battles in recent years. For context, Drake had filed a suit against his own label, UMG Recordings, alleging a calculated plan to damage his image through the release of Kendrick Lamar's diss track, Not Like Us. In the filing, Drake claimed UMG orchestrated a campaign to weaponize Kendrick's music, using him as a tool to dismantle Drake's reputation, brand value, and cultural influence. According to Drake's perspective, the feud was rooted in timing. He was approaching a high-stakes contract renegotiation, and he believed the label was undermining him to weaken his bargaining position. After enduring public humiliation through Kendrick's lyrical attacks, Drake viewed himself as being betrayed by the very institution that built him. A modern echo of the business fallout seen in stories like The Social Network. However, the court found major flaws in his argument. To give Drake some credit, it did appear that he once tried to put the feud behind him. He reportedly reached out to both J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar for a potential collaboration. A gesture that felt like an olive branch, something that could have symbolized unity in a genre often fueled by rivalry. The record, rumored to carry a power of friendship vibe, could have been monumental for hip-hop. But things didn't go as planned. Kendrick turned down the offer, refusing to join forces. And when the eventual track First and Shooter dropped, featuring Drake and J. Cole, both artists took subtle jabs at him. Kendrick's response came swiftly and brutally with Like That, where he made it crystal clear there was no friendship here, only unfinished business. He even threw a warning shot at J. Cole, stating he was fair game too. Cole eventually bowed out of the fight, but Drake took the bait, fully engaging in the lyrical warfare that would dominate hip-hop for months. What followed was a cultural earthquake. Contract long after their prime. The sentiment was clear. Yes, Drake was once unstoppable, commanding the charts and dictating trends. But just like an aging superstar seeking one last Supermax deal, the reality had shifted. The dominance that once made him untouchable was now fading. And this lawsuit was less about justice and more about refusing to accept that the game had moved on. Drake's response to the court ruling has only reinforced one image, that of a sore loser trying to rewrite history. Instead of accepting the outcome, he continues to push the Not Like Us narrative long after the world has moved on. It's like getting humiliated in front of everyone, then showing up every day insisting that it didn't count. That the loss was just a slip, a mistake, a bad angle. The persistence has turned from resilience into desperation. Now the rollout for his Iceman album feels uncertain, overshadowed by the failed lawsuit and his constant need to set the record straight. So much of this campaign hinged on the illusion of a grand victory. The promise that Drake was about to expose UMG, uncover industry corruption, and prove his detractors wrong. But with the case dismissed in full, that narrative collapsed overnight. Fans who were waiting for the infamous red button moment have realized it's never coming. What was meant to be a bold statement of power turned into a cautionary tale about ego and overreach. The lawsuit wasn't just unnecessary. It was a direct hit against artistic freedom. An ironic move for someone who once claimed that rap was just competition. Instead of showing growth or grace, Drake doubled down, proving how much the loss truly stung. And now the balance of power has completely shifted. UMG, the same label Drake accused of conspiring against him, still owns the majority of his most valuable catalog and continues to profit from every stream, every spin, and every hit. They control the legacy he built, and his left fighting shadows. In the end, this wasn't just a legal defeat. It was a public one. The court dismissed the case. The fans moved on and the industry took notes. Drake's empire, once built on control and dominance, is now defined by uncertainty. And the man who once ruled the charts is left trying to convince everyone that he still runs the game. So, what do you think about this final verdict? Was this lawsuit Drake's biggest mistake, or just a sign that he can't let go of the past? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're here for more in-depth breakdowns like this, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next video. This story may be over, but the fallout has only just begun.